Welcome to the third video in your series of understanding your new Google Analytics account. Today, what we're going to be covering is going to be your bounce rate. So bounce rate is something that you're actually going to find all throughout your Google Analytics account. So if you click on the acquisitions overview and you look about middle of the page, you'll see something called bounce rate, and session durations will be another one we'll address in a moment. So that bounce rate you can find actually everywhere. You're going to find on your social media pages, on your top pages, all throughout the acquisition pages. Essentially what the bounce rate does, it's a measure of how your content is really resonating with your customer base. So it's a measure of kind of the relevance, the amount of time someone spends on your pages, how many pages they actually visit to your website. All of these are measures that you can see that your marketing efforts are either improving or not improving based on over time. So the important part that we're going to look at in regards to the bounce rate is understanding where your top pages are and how relevant they are to the people that are searching for you. So let's first talk about your blogging. Now you're blogging, right? Because if you're not blogging, I don't know, that's going to be a big one for you. So blogging right now actually is still relevant in 2019. The biggest thing about blogging is that you're going to be able to target keywords that you can't target on your main page. So regardless of what your business is, you would want to separate out your services on each page. So let's say you are a car wash. So the car wash does detailing, does high-end detailing in different packages. So all of those different packages should be on their own separate page, simply because you cannot target multiple keywords on one page and still get ranking on Google and other search engines. It just doesn't work that way. So by being able to say detailing services, you'll have all your content that specifically talks about your detailing services. And that way you can actually target that specific page. And when someone is actually searching for that information, they'll land on it and get all the information that they need, increasing the conversions on your page. We talked about the cycle in regards to your funnel cycle in the last series. So this is where a lot of that's really going to come into play. So a couple of things that's going to be affecting your bounce rate is really going to be the readability of your content. So let's say you're actually making a blog, and the blog itself is very convoluted, has a lot of sentences, the sentences are extremely long, or you're using content that's just not resonating with the type of people that you should be marketing to. So one of the things to look at is when it comes to readability, you'd want to actually write content according to a high school level. That's something that's known. A lot of studies have been placed is that anything above that level as you're writing content, you're going to lose a large percentage of your audience, and it will affect actually your bounce rate as well as your readability score. So coupled with that, you actually want to look at avoiding a lot of distractions. Don't put a lot of content that's on there that's going to bloat your page. The longer it takes for it to load, the more people are going to leave. It's just a fact of how things are. Now we know, I believe 87% of all mobile social traffic is coming from mobile pages. So if your website is not mobile optimized, that's going to be another factor that's going to cause people to leave because they're not going to be able to load the content that they have. So the other part of that is avoiding pop-ups. I'm a big advocate about not putting pop-ups in your content. There's a huge debate in between the marketing community whether it's helpful, whether it's not. If you're doing it tastefully, I would say go for it. I personally would only really put them into play if you're doing very specific content or very specific offers, especially like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, stuff like that, stuff that's relevant. If you're just throwing a pop-up just for the fact of throwing them up, it's a good chance people are going to bounce off your page. That's just a fact of the matter, at least that I've seen in my expertise. You can kind of take that one or leave it, but I would recommend to kind of look at that part. So the other part when you start talking about bounce rate, we start looking at the relevance of multiple pages. You want to have a flow of your content. So especially when it comes to your blogging, you don't want to throw just random stuff. Look for things that actually fall together. So if you are a plumber, let's talk about services to help plumbing do it yourself, different services that they have that can find cheaper, ways of actually having good plumbing health in regards to your home. A bunch of stuff like that can actually be really beneficial, and people will actually return back to your website to try and actually consume more information in regards to those topics. So these are just a couple of things that I really want you to consider. So the increasing your bounce rate is going to show that your content's not resonating. If you're actually decreasing your bounce rate, you're going to know that your marketing efforts are really helping and actually working for your advantage. So like we said in one of the other video series, if you look at the acquisitions overview and you change that top date range at the top there, you can actually see whether or not you have an increase and decrease over time of all metrics, your traffic as well as your bounce rate, your session durations, and your multiple pages. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. So I hope it wasn't too dry for you, but do dive into the blog material because it will give you some specific strategies on how to help and a lot of figures that's going to help you increase your bounce or decrease your bounce rate. Let's not increase it. So again, I appreciate the time you're taking to watch this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to respond to this email and I'll take care of you the next time. Take care.